What I want to know is, are you excited about the new area? I knew you were. I knew you were. Hopefully today, the shop will be done, or as I call it, the shabarn. I know you've been watching it over there, and so far, what do you think about Brent and the builders, job they're doing? I agree. They are doing an excellent job over there, and I think they're going to be finished with it. Hooves crossed. This is the big day. Good morning, y'all. Jason, Racing Reska, and my main man Willie over here at Cog Hill Farm. Oh, also over here too. Shaketh and baketh. Opie and Ernest. What's going on, fellas? Y'all chilling? It feels quite. It is hot. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna say it's not hot, but we have a breeze today, and the humidity is definitely way lower. As an Alabamian, you can tell right off the bat when you walk outside when the humidity's down, and it is like, I swear it feels like it's 15 degrees cooler. I do. What you think, girl? Reska agrees. She does. Well, Brant and the builders are here. And y'all, we're down to the finish line on the shabarn, as I like to call it. Now, I had some folks saying that I'm not saying that right. And it's a shop and a barn, so barn. So that's where that came from. I don't know any other way you could say that. I looked it up in the dictionary, and it's not there, so really don't have nothing to go by, except y'all know I am an official wordsmith. And, that probably ranks me up there pretty high when it comes to pronunciations. But anyways, Brent and the builders are here. They're starting on the roof, and they are starting on my lean-tos, the little side porches or side areas on the side. One side will be for the horses, the other side will be for whatever I want to put over there. I think I'm going to put Big Joe on that side. And I keep telling Brooke I want to park my side-by-side over there. We'll see. She says, you're not going to walk back and forth, but it's not that far. It's not that far. Now, here's the thing. Just because they got this thing built don't mean, it's time to move in, which I can put some stuff over there, but I have no electricity and no plumbing. So I got to get that done too. I think I'm going to try to do all that myself. I do. Y'all know we bought the trencher for Bobby C. And so we'll be able to trench for the plumbing. And I think we're going to call the power company and get them to set a pole, and we put that shop on its own circuit instead of trying to go from the house over there or anything like that. That would kind of be crazy, I think. So it's more likely what we're going to do is just get the power company come, set a pole over there for us, and put the shabarn on its own circuit. But let's see how far Brent and the builders get done today, because those boys are working. But I don't know if they're working as hard as these two in the shade on some grass. They're working it pretty good. And y'all, look out here. Look at this. This is such a beautiful sight. Every time I see this, I don't know, I love it. But look here, we got all the goats out here. Of course, we got these fellas right here. And if you look back behind the goats and donkeys, there's Jesse and Honey over there. But look behind the goats, and you can see the big moo man out there. They love this side over here where that shade comes from the woods, and love eating that grass over there. So the cows are over there, I don't know, it just, and you can see the cows are loving the fact that the grass got cut. It just had gotten too tall. I know, I just love it. Now, I had some of y'all ask me, why did I stop using the mister for the cows that hung on the Moo Mansion over there? Well, they ripped it down 3 times. And I say they. Y'all know who I'm talking about. No need to say any names. Because I didn't have any visual evidence. Didn't see him, didn't get caught red-hoofed or red-handed. But it got ripped down 3 times. And they never really stay over there. They don't, except when it's feeding time. Since the pasture and all has been so great, they love staying on this side over here in the shade. So they love walking up and down these shady areas where lots of grass is. And you can see Moody doing it right now. So that's why there's just really no sense of putting it back up there. But talking about Brent and the builders and hard working, well, guess what's not working? Well, I say not working. I got, I want to change the filters out, hydraulic filters out on Bobby C right here. And I got Mr. Caden to help me do the flip top lid. And Brooke went to the Bobcat place with the information, serial number and all that kind of good stuff to get the hydraulic filters for it here. And wrong filters. Wrong filters. I got ready yesterday to change the oil. I was going to change the hydraulic oil and put new filters on it. And they gave us the wrong filters. Y'all, I've been in the automotive part business up until 4 years ago. Basically my entire life. When I got out of high school, the first job I got a job delivering parts at an auto parts store, a locally owned auto parts store. That's what I did. From that point on, that was my career. I just got into the parts business. I liked it. I was good at it. And there was nobody wanting to get into that business, so I didn't have any competition. So yeah, it ended up being a career for me for a good long minute there. So I know mistakes can be made on, looking up parts and stuff. So I did not get a chance to work on Bobby C. But I tell you what I did do instead. I actually spent the majority of my day yesterday working on termite. I actually got a lot done on termite yesterday and had a good time. I really enjoyed myself. I like tinkering around and working on stuff. I just do. I like doing it. And that's one reason that I really wanted to, the dream of mine is to have that little shop over there. This now a shop barn, but you get the point. But let me tell you what I did to termite yesterday. I got the throttle cable installed, which was a big one. Took me a little bit. It wasn't hard, but it was, took me a little bit. I also got, let me show you right here. New seat belts installed in termite. Now this was a big deal. This did not come with a retractable seatbelt system like this. It just had your old, I call them airplane seatbelts. You know what I'm talking about? But I went back and I installed retractable seatbelts with a shoulder strap in here for termite, which it did not have. And I replaced the ones right back here in the back, right here. So I got new seatbelts back here. And another thing I did, which really isn't, well, it is, but it isn't, depends on who you are. But termite had a radio in here, and it had one of these fancy radios. Long story short, it didn't work. I thought maybe something just come loose, and it did. The back of it had come loose. Now, we're just gonna call her the lovely lady. So y'all know the backstory. The lovely lady that we bought termite from told me the radio was working, and then it just kind of quit. She didn't know why, and she had somebody look at it and said it was something pretty simple. And I probably would just let that pass, you know, but, you know, y'all know the history of termite. Long story short, termite, though, this fancy radio only worked with an amplifier. It was just, I don't know, and it would come on, it would come off. I tested the speakers worked fine. So you know what, I said, I'm just getting rid of all this. It's not, it's hooked up properly. There's obviously something wrong with it, so I took it all out. I'm just buying a basic, cheap $30 radio to go in here, and I already ordered it, that just directly hooks to the speakers. There's no amp or anything like that. Listen, I'm not here to rattle no windows in termite, you know what I'm saying? And I talked to termite, and termite said, you know, I'm not no boom boom van. I'm not. I'm a roll the windows down Sunday driving van. And you don't want to listen to boom boom on Sunday, you know? Which I do find it kind of odd, honestly, because this was an older lady, and she had been recently separated. I mean, I don't know why that would have been, but I need to be nice. I do. I need to be nice. You reap what you sow. So the lovely lady had recently been divorced, or had been divorced. I don't know if it's recent. I didn't get into her history, but other than what she told me. And her husband wanted this. And so that's why it was in here. One more thing that I did to termite, and that I actually failed on, to be honest with you. It was a failure. So this window right here, this vent glass right here, it's got a little notch or a little tab up here and down here. And that's what keeps it in place, and it opens and shuts. Well, the one down here is broken right here. I found one off eBay, but I couldn't get it in there. I tried and tried and tried and tried. I could get it in there, but it wouldn't stay. It's complicated. I can't explain it, but my fear is that all this has got to come out, and I got to take this window frame out and put it together and put it back in here, then put all this back in here. That's why this window's so clean. A lot of y'all get on to me about termite being dusty, but there's really not much I can do because it's in the barn. You know, I can't wash it in here, and it doesn't move unless I push it. And you do not want to come in here with a rag and start wiping this off, because this dust will scratch everything. You may not think it will, but it will. So the best thing to do, I think what I'm going to do is hit it with a blower and then rinse it off with water when it's time to do that. So that's why I haven't done anything to dusty termite right here when it comes to the cleaning aspect of it. And I know some of y'all give me a hard time about the van. Why haven't I got it fixed? Why hadn't I fixed it? Why don't I work on it? And there's a lot of reasons why, but basically it all has to do with time. That's basically it. You know, from working on the farm, from family time, and from making videos. We put out something every single day. From all of that, you have to kind of prioritize, you know, where things go, and sometimes things just get put back on the back burner. And then I work on termite when I have a free day, which isn't very often. But yesterday was one of those days because Mary Carl had a friend over. And so she didn't, you know, she wanted to be with her friend. And that kind of gave me a free day that I probably normally would have dedicated this day on a family day. So just bear with me when it comes to, you know, this, honestly. Yep. And not to mention that, you know, our feed's piled up right here. I kind of have to move stuff around. We got pine straw on this side of termite and wood stored on this side of termite. And that's the reason why the barn is such a big deal for me. Well, boss lady, I don't know if you know it or not, but I think today is the last day for Brant and the Builders. And the barn will be official. Yeah, it will be official. And so we're probably going to have to get into the petty cash drawer and, you know, pay Brant what he needs to be paid, okay? And I just wanted to let you know up front that today's probably the day, okay? All right, just leave the keys, you know, where you normally leave them, and I'll come by and pick them up later. All right, you enjoy your nap, and you have a blessed day. Oh, so some of y'all probably want to know what's next on Termite over here. And so let me tell you what's next on it. Well, it's just, come on over here, I'll show you. So the next thing I have to do is I need to replace the crankshaft pulley because it is bent. Also, there were some exhaust gaskets that I did not originally get. So some exhaust gaskets I need to put on there. Also, which is funny because people get tickled when I talk about this. I think some people think I may be telling a joke, but this is what you call the mustache bar. You can see why they call it a mustache bar. I guess depending on what type of mustache you want. This is actually the front cradle that kind of holds the engine in the front here. And of course they had to come out when we put the engine in there. And these motor mounts right here were broken. And I got these on there, but I do have to install this. But all this would have to come off anyways when I take this crankshaft pulley off. So this has got to go on. All of the engine tins is what this is that fit around the motor have to go back on. I got a new brake booster hose for it. That's got to be installed. But I tell you what, yesterday I had a great time, you know, even though it was by myself, working on Termite. I just love piddling with old things like this, even when I don't know what I'm doing. Thank goodness for YouTube. But y'all, I'm gonna try my absolute best to get this going before Mary Carl turns 16. And this will not be her sole daily driver, her only way to travel. You know, this will not be her full-time car or vehicle. This is a car or a vehicle that her and Brooke have wanted. Brooke, her entire life, just about, seems like. And then Mary Carl, you know, ever since she was a little girl all the way up, she's always wanted an old Volkswagen bus or van. And I think they're pretty cool too. So this is kind of a whole big family thing is what Termite is. This isn't some daily drive or anything. This is roll the windows down. Let's go drive down some country roads, or maybe head to the little town and get us an ice cream cone in and make some memories. That's what Termite is. It's just a fun family thing that we all kind of wanted. It just didn't go the way we wanted it to, but that's okay. Sometimes things don't go the way you want it to, and you just make the best of it. You might be the first one to ride in it. What you think? Or Holly, probably Holly. Or you and Holly. What do you think? Only one thing though, you can't do number 1 and number 2 in there if you get to go. You know what I'm saying? We might have to get you a diaper. Yeah. You see them over there working? I think today might be the final day that the shebang is done. I really do. I do, which means it'll all be up to me at this point. Electrical, water. We gotta get the horse fencing fixed. You know how to pull fencing? You should as many times you've seen me do it. You're supposed to be a white emu, not an orange one. Speaking of, he's supposed to be a white goat too, you know what I mean? But it looks like y'all go to the same tanning salon. You may want to tone that down just a bit, you know, the orange part. I'm just saying. What's going on, Ope? I was just asking about you. Termite, no, we're not doing that. You gotta be sweet. Gotta be sweet. There you go. Gotta be sweet. Not going after my face or my glasses. We're good. Here comes Tip. Don't mess with the camera, Tip. There goes Mama in her bighorn. She gonna put eggs out this morning, isn't she? Yeah. So in our last video, we had our big corn harvest. We still got to harvest some more. But I told y'all that we typically blanch it and freeze it. And y'all, I cannot tell y'all how many of you guys told us that y'all do not blanch your corn anymore. You stopped. And then Catherine over there at G&G sent Brooke a text and said, hey, look, I don't blanch my corn anymore. I stopped. I can't tell a difference. So, well, we didn't blanch it. What we ended up doing is that we ended up using our food saver vacuum sealer, you know, and put enough for a serving in there for our family, and vacuum sealed it and put it in the freezer. I appreciate all y'all's feedback on that. I really do, because that saved us a ton of time. Hey, gorgeous. How you doing? How you doing? You hear Brent over there working on the barn? I think today's I don't have any treats in my pocket, baby. I don't have any treats in my pocket. I don't. You can quit looking. There's none in there. That's my cell phone. Okay, that's my cell phone. But hey, Brent and them are going to be through today, I believe. So you won't be hearing all that. No treats. All that hammering and sawing and backup alarms and all that. That'll be gone. Yeah, that'll be gone. I don't know who's sweeter, you or Jesse. Except you always want a treat. Yeah. Let me go get you one. All right, here you go. Here you go. Now, that work? Good deal. Oh, goodness. Peaches heard you, so now she wants a treat. All right, boss lady, let me get you a treat. We got Peaches some mini pig treats here. I'm assuming they're peanut butter, I reckon. All right, here you go. Now, yeah, don't forget the petty cash key, okay? Don't forget it. Right pocket. You sweet thing. Are you so sweet because you think I got treats? Is that what it is? Because it don't do Peaches any good. She's not sweet regardless. Either way, I appreciate your sweetness. I know one question that comes up that I just thought about, and that is plumbing, or the lack of plumbing on the shop. And that is, Jason, are you putting a bathroom in the shop? Probably one of the number one questions I get asked. It would literally cost me more in a septic system than it would be what I'm going to have in the shop, the concrete, and electrical. A good bit more. And to have a septic tank put in, I would have to have a perk test done, so I have to pay for that. Then I have to get it approved by the county, and they have to sign off on it. Then I have to go buy a septic system, and then I have to pay somebody to install the septic system, just so I can have one little toilet. And it's just one of those things where the cost outweighs the actual use of it. You know what I mean? I can't tie into my septic system because of where it's located. It's behind our house. There's no way I could get a drain pipe from the barn all the way to the house. Would be impossible, honestly. So that's why we're not going to put a bathroom in there. And the reason why we didn't put a bathroom in the barn, just the septic system would have cost so much money. Now, after traveling to Alaska, each state park and walking trail area over there, and I'm almost mean every single one, and every single little campground, it didn't matter if it was a tent campground or a camper campground. It didn't matter if it was a 2-mile hiking trail or 18-mile hiking trail. They had these little bathrooms set up. And basically it was an outhouse, but it was extremely clean. So there is a possibility that I may build a little outhouse for the shop if I see that I need to. I doubt Brooke will use it, or Mary Carl, but you know what I mean. Which leads me to this question. What do you guys think about an outhouse for it? Would that be smart for me to build me an outhouse if I have to emergency, I can go, or I don't know. Leave it in the comments below. I would love to know your thoughts on an outhouse. Yeah, I don't blame you. I'd get me some water too before the twerking machine came over here and started doing her thing. Pretty smart man. Pretty smart man. That feels good, don't it, brother? Yeah. You better hurry up though, because here comes the twerking machine herself. Hey, baby girl. How you doing? Hmm? How you doing? You want some water too? There you go. There you go. See? She's getting warmed up, brother. She's getting warmed up. Let's don't do it in the water today, Loretta. Okay? Let's don't do it in the water today. Well, y'all, here it is in all its glory. The official shop / horse barn of Cog Hill Farm. Right here. Now remember, I'm going to put a front on this. We come back and decided we're going to build a front, or Brant's going to put a front on it. Another, like a porch, or not a porch. I don't know, what am I talking about, a porch? It's a shop. It's not going to have a porch. But it's going to have another lean-to coming off the front where I could work on something. First thing popped in my head was washing cars. If I wanted to wash the car, the tractor, or pressure wash the skid steer, whatever I wanted to pressure wash, I could do it underneath the shelter here. And so that's not the main purpose, but you know, anything we can do in the shade we could, and plus it'll help with, you know, rain bouncing back in, which isn't that big of a deal. But here it is. As you can see, so this side over here will be the shelter for the horses, and you can see the shade already. I mean, this whole side is completely shaded, and you can see how large this is right here. Of course, all this will be fenced in right there. It's not going to be open like that. And then we're going to build little stalls like we did at the barn now. But you can see how this is going to work out well for the horses right here. Perfect. Now, as we walk to this side over here, I got this other lean-to over here, and this is where I was talking about parking Big Joe and the Screaming Chicken right here, or whatever else. But I'm definitely going to put Big Joe over here for sure. And there's lots of room underneath here as well. I definitely could get 3 pieces of equipment in here like we have at the barn now. Just absolutely perfect. I love it. Cannot tell y'all how proud I am of this shop. And honestly, I have to thank Brooke, because I probably wouldn't have built this shop if it wasn't for her. Because I didn't want to I feel selfish sometimes. I'll feel selfish or whatever. And that's just not the type of person I am. So once, you know, she was like, Jason, you really need to do this. This is going to help the entire farm. And this was pre-horses, you know, before we got the horses, because we started saving for this shop for over a year ago. And she kept pushing me, said, this really would benefit the farm. Don't think of this as your thing. This is going to help everybody out here. And of course, she was right. I do think everybody will benefit from the new shop area. But let me give you a tour real quick, since it is finished. I say finished, you know, we still got electrical and plumbing. And plumbing is I'm gonna put a sink over here. But as you can see, this extra space, which was a mistake, was worth it, I believe. I really do. You can see how much more room it has here. The shop would originally stopped at these poles right here. This would have been the back all the way down through here. This would have been outside area. This would have been completely outside right here, except this spot over here. See, this spot was going to be the tack room. So this would have been enclosed right here, a separate room for the horse stuff. I call it a tack room, the horse room, whatever you want to call it. So that would have been, this would have been inside right here. This spot over here would have been outside. And so you can see how much more space we gained by enclosing all of this, which now is going to be, you know, the little woodworking area over here. We have plenty of space to build whatever project we want to build now. And my little cast iron area over here where I can get all my cast iron stuff over here and get it out of the way in the barn where it is now. Because I do want to build a bigger tank, and I do want to season my cast iron over here. So it's just perfect, absolutely perfect. The concrete accident was meant to be and ended up being a huge blessing. It really did. And I'm so grateful that it did indeed happen. I got to show it to Brooke. Brooke has not seen it. She's actually doing something right now. She's actually on the tractor. So I need to get her over here so she can actually see the barn herself, and or shop or shabarn. Also, there were a lot of people that said that I've made a mistake by not putting windows in here. Well, here's the reason why I didn't put a lot of windows in here, is because I wanted the wall space. I'm gonna have a lot of shelving in here. That's my plan, to keep everything organized. And so if I have windows in here, it's either I'm gonna block the window, or I'm gonna go, I can't put nothing there because there's a window there. And I did not want that. Also, it's not like I was getting great views, number one, or any large amount of sunlight in here. This is on the back side. This is all woods. This is what, a 10 foot or so from my property line. I don't own that wooded property over there, and it's all woods. The sun stays on this side of the barn, so I wouldn't get a bunch of sunlight in at all, nor would I get a bunch of sunlight for a window being on this side, because I got the lean-to right there, so it's really, really shady. And the same can be said for the horse side. And I really didn't want a window over there for the horse side, fear that the horse may see itself in the reflection or anything like that, and something bad happen. So that's the reason why I didn't put a bunch of windows in there. Now, some mentioned skylights, and I always have a fear of skylights because at some point I always feel like that skylight seal is gonna break down and it's gonna leak. But I do plan on putting some big shop lights in here, so it'll be well lit. Eventually, one day, I don't know when that is, it may be next year, it may be 3 years from now, and that is to put a 4-post lift in here if I wanted to work on an old car or change our oil, which I do a lot of now. I just do it on the ground. So eventually one day, because lifts are not cheap, is to put a lift here, and they put 8 inches of concrete in this area for the lift. So that's what I want here. Hopefully one day that will happen. So I could definitely put a ceiling fan here and possibly one on that side as well. So that's something I'll look into, those big shop fans like we got in the barn. All right, here comes Brooke right now. So what do you think?
It's like somebody cut the air conditioner on in here.
Much cooler it is in here versus it's outside.
I don't even want to show my hair, but
isn't it something?
oh my gosh.
Isn't that crazy?
It's so much better. Holly, I know why you're in here, girl. You're going to have some friends in a minute. Gosh.
It's a lot different in it.
Yeah.
I
As I wiped the sweat off my face.
was thinking earlier that I may not put any of those big fans in here, but now I'm thinking I'm gonna maybe put one there and maybe one over there.
You talking about overhead?
Yeah, and
I thought
leave
you meant
this
floor fan.
no, and leave this area for the lift one day.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna get a floor fan.
Gotcha.
But what do you think?
I think it's great. I think I found my resting spot. I mean, it is. I don't know the temperature difference. It'd be interesting to see.
Holly, there's one thing me and you need to do ASAP, okay? All right, let me go tell you what it is. Let's go get it. All right, let's see. I need to find it. Where are you? Oh, yeah. There you are, my friend. There you are. Definitely need you today. All right, I got it. Now, I really could use your help with this now. I think you could help me with this. I do. All right, here we go. Here we go. You ready? Let's do it. All right, so the one thing that I need to do ASAP is this. I got my magnet and we're about to go around the barn and see if, you know, what all we can find. Cause the last thing we need is a flat tire. I will say this though, Brant really does a great job at cleaning up. He does. I meant to ask him the other day when he was here, how many flat tires does he get? All right. I'm glad we saved this. I almost forgot one of the most important things about the new shop barn here on the farm, and that is this: a victory dance. You know what I'm saying? Almost forgot it. Man, almost forgot the victory dance. But I do want to say thank you so much for following us along on this build and hanging out with me and Brooke today. Appreciate you so much. Hope you have the best day ever. Y'all take care. Catch you on the next one. And as always, y'all be good.